Hey guys, so today I'm going to be taking an 18 by 18 by 24 Exo Terra tank that I came across using Craigslist, and I'm going to be showing you how to make a custom background similar to this type of custom background, except I'll be using Drylock, which is experimental to me. So Drylock is a basement waterproofer. And here is what I'll be using. So this is Drylock original, and this will be to paint the background. So this basement and masonry waterproofer. And then I will be coloring it. I get it the colored gray. So like at Lowe's, I have them color it gray. Then I'll be using liquid cement color, Quikrete, terracotta, and the charcoal variety as well. And then as doing the background, I will be using Gaps and Cracks expanding foam. Now this terrarium will be for Darwin, my Crested Gecko here. This is adult female Crested Gecko, except I will not be finishing the terrarium in this video. I'll only be doing the background. And this is actually how the background will turn out. This is my green iguana's enclosure, and I did the entire background for his enclosure, this huge thing. This one, but at first I did it on the Exo Terra to kind of see, like, get used to it and see how it would turn out. So you can see it looks like rock basically, and the idea is that it'll last longer than using the silicone and soil method. And I think it looks really good as well. I think both look really nice. I'm not completely positive how I feel about the Drylock, but so far with the iguana, with its sharp claws, I don't have to worry about, or I haven't had to worry about it so far, like digging into the background, which was the problem when I used the silicone and dirt method. So far my opinions of, I've done both a lot, and this definitely takes longer, but I'm thinking that's gonna last longer and look nicer, like with the green iguana. With the silicone, you smither it all on, and then you put the dirt on, and it's a lot more messy, and the dirt doesn't always stick. And silicone, you can't get out of like clothing and stuff. I'm pretty sure the Drylock you can get out of clothing. I know it's very easy to wash off. Like, you can wash off with water, unlike silicone, which you have to either get off with like a paper towel, or if it dries, then you have to get off with some type of like oil, like gasoline or whatnot. So or mineral or something, I don't know. So anyway, let's get into this. First, I started off with designing the background with expanding foam. So I did this project alongside the background of the iguana cage. So as you can see, I have a ton of wood at my disposal here, as well as a ton of cans of expanding foam. And when I got this tank, it actually came with the foam background, and I don't like these foam backgrounds, but I just kind of used that to like set the wood on and stuff, and I expanding foamed around it. And I only used one can of expanding foam for this whole background, which I was pretty proud of. But right here, I'm just basically organizing the wood for the two projects and future projects and whatnot. And then I went ahead and decided where I wanted everything. I marked it on this background, and I cut out this background so I could set all the wood into this background, and then I would expanding foam around it, as I had said. A couple days after the expanding foam had dried, I went ahead and started to pick at it. And with this one, all the expanding foam was around pieces of wood, so I used my hands heavily and less with a razor blade. With the iguana's cage, I used a different method with a wire brush, but I basically just picked at it with my hand, and I might have corrected a couple areas with some extra expanding foam or something like that. But this was pretty simple. It didn't take a whole long time to carve out. And what this is doing is it's exposing the like porous layer underneath the surface of the expanding foam, which I think looks much more natural. The outside is kind of like rounded, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, kind of like bubbly almost. And the inside, it's more porous and a lot like lava rock, actually. So I think that's I think lava rock would work really well if you were doing expanding foam and Drylock, because I think the Drylock makes it look like lava rock. Okay, so now I'm going to Drylock the backgrounds, and I'm going to start off with this one as a test deal, and then once I'll be good at it by then, and then I'll do it on the this background, because this one you'll really see because it's Charlie's background and there won't really be any plants in here. This tank will be filled with plants, so you won't see the background as much. The background will be more dark, while this one you'll see the whole thing, so you want it to look nicer. So here I have the Drylock, and this, I think we colored it gray. So then we have Quikrete, we got it colored gray, and then we have Quikrete coloring. So I'll get a couple other cups and go ahead and get some of the Drylock into these and then use those. So I have the charcoal and the terracotta because those were more naturalistic type of colors, and then we just have gray, so it's like gray and then brown or red or something, and then black. So now let's start on this tank. At the beginning of the video, I showed you guys a whole can of Drylock. This is more than enough for this size tank. This smaller tub type of deal was more than enough for this tank, and like I said, this was kind of my more experimental use of it. So this background's a lot more colors than the iguana's cage's background, but as I had said, it will be covered up much more than the iguana cage background. So I just went ahead and dabbed it everywhere. It's just really a bunch of dabbing. So I've definitely found my way of doing things. I like the two colors that I have. I basically have dark gray and then the terracotta and the black as well. Together make more of a dark brown red than just a bright brown red color. Sorry, here. So the colors are kind of crazy. I don't know if you can see them right now, but you will once it dries. They're wild. Okay, I just went in with it everywhere. Basically, I'm going to use these two as a base color and then mix them around or whatever on this. Now this should be a lot easier because first of all, bigger brush. Second of all, this one I had to do inside a tank. This one I don't have to do within the tank. So I should just be able to paint it on there like normal. The problem is it's not really painting, it's just dabbing. So like every single little hole on here, I need to make sure I get, which is one of the problems with this. Another problem is I don't think that this stuff will come off glass. Like, I have no clue, honestly. I've never used this before. So that's an issue because I got it all over the glass. But I don't really care because this is going to be a really cool terrarium and there's going to be plants everywhere and it'll be fine. So definitely more interesting concept, but the idea is that it'll be harder and it'll be water resistant, which is important in this case. So here is the tank after it's dried. It's actually been like a couple weeks since the last clip because as you saw at the beginning, I'm actually done with my iguana's cage at this point. So I think there's a couple touch-up places, but this is basically what it looks like. And what I meant by so many colors is like it's black there and then brown there and then like a darker brown there and then I think gray there. I don't know, I'm honestly colorblind, so that might be red a little bit, I'm not sure. I think the terracotta is like a red brown, but as you can see, I'm not really worried about where it touches the glass. Like, I don't even think I'm gonna mess with that. I could try it, I guess, see if I can cut it off, but I don't really care. I think it'll be alright. Like I've said, I've done enough of these Crested Gecko terrariums to know that I probably won't even see that eventually. It'll be covered in plants. So, a very interesting terrarium. By the way, I got this concept of using the Drylock from Troy Goldberg's Tropical Garage. I think that's what it's called. That's a channel on YouTube. I watched his video and I actually saw the wire brush idea and the Drylock idea, and he makes let me see, dart frog terrarium, so that's a little bit different. And there's other ways, there's other different things that I haven't tried yet with terrariums, so that's pretty exciting. But there's a lot of different resources you can use. The problem with the way that I do these is that I don't do like super tropical terrariums like dart frog terrariums, where you can have a bunch of tiny plants and a bunch of big plants, and just like you can really do a lot with dart frog terrariums, which you can't exactly do with crested gecko terrariums, because dart frogs are more amphibious. They need more humidity and more water and stuff. So yeah, but like I said, I'm not going to be setting up this terrarium. I want to set it up like a lot, but I don't even have the dirt for it yet, because I used more dirt than I thought I would on the green iguanas enclosure. So I kind of just like letting it sit here, wait for me to set it up. And I'm actually going to be setting this one up in a pretty interesting way that I haven't done before. But here you can see I have some I always say that wrong. I have some clay balls. I'm used to saying bio balls from aquarium filtration. Just in the bottom here, I need to add more. But this will actually be a bit of a different type of crested gecko terrarium. The goal here is that the crested gecko won't actually be able to get to the soil. Now that sounds pretty strange, but I want her to be able to lay eggs in this tank, but I want her to lay eggs where I want her to lay eggs. So I'm gonna have a spot, like maybe right here or right here, that I'll have an egg box inside the terrarium, and then she'll be able to get down to the egg box and lay her eggs there, but she won't be able to lay them anywhere else inside the tank. So it's going to be kind of a challenge to set it up, a new goal, I guess, with the terrarium. So my goal of doing that is that I'll still have soil and everything. That's why I have the drainage layer, but I will have actual slate on top of the soil wherever there isn't plants coming up. So different idea. We're gonna see how it turns out, but I think that it'll be pretty cool. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like it down below, and comment as well if you have any comments or concerns. Have a fantastic day.